Color me surprised. I thought we were going to be getting 2 new episodes this week, but we got 3 new episodes. And I still say, as a lifelong Spider-Man fan, I am enjoying the hell out of this series. So let's discuss episodes 3, 4, and 5 of Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. I think one of the things I'm enjoying most about this series is the feeling of the unknown, like having no clue where things are going to be heading. And that is because this show is continuously trying to subvert your expectations. They don't want you knowing exactly what's going to happen. There is a lot of traditional Spider-Man storylines that everybody is just well familiar with, and this show is trying to offer you something fresh so that you don't feel like you're hearing the same thing you've heard before. Some of these characters are exactly how you'd expect, but some of them are radically different. Hence the reason why there's review bombs and crybabies marching in the streets of the interweb trying to spread hate whenever they get the chance to. Probably the same fools who are going around complaining about the new Superman movie any chance they get. Some people just cannot be satisfied. I guess we can keep some of those people happy. We just have to go back to the old days when white men were on top and black people were cast as corny butlers or poorly written villains. You know, back when women were working in the kitchen making their meatloaf while they folded the laundry. Good old American values.
Yeah, I want more of that.
Shut the fuck up. So let's dive into the things I thought were noteworthy about these new 3 episodes. One thing I noticed at the start of episode 3 is when Peter and Nico are sitting in her room and a woman knocks at the door that Peter addresses as Miss O'Hara. I could be reading way too much into this, but in the Spider-Verse movie Across the Spider-Verse, we are introduced to Miguel O'Hara, a variant of Spider-Man who has tasked himself with protecting the multiverse. Is this woman somehow related to Miguel O'Hara, or is this just a little Easter egg name drop designed to make people excited? Did you know that this show was originally supposed to be in the MCU, but while they were working on it, the showrunners of this show decided that forcing them to be in the MCU was creating a lot of creative limitations. After all, a lot of these characters that are going to be in this series have not even been introduced in the MCU. But you can certainly see how this show maintains some of the MCU's DNA, especially in these 3 latest episodes. Particularly in episode 4, where we find out that the Sokovia Accords are very much still a thing. We still had a feud between Captain America and Iron Man that resulted in a big fight at an airport. So those kind of things are clearly carrying over into this animated universe. But obviously, unlike what we saw in the airport battle in Captain America Civil War, this version of Spider-Man was not included in that battle. It's just fun to see the little hints to the MCU, little glimpses of the things that we're familiar with, while at the same time being thrown countless curveballs that subvert your expectations and keep you guessing. We continue to see the budding connection between Peter and Norman growing. He is very much filling the role of Tony Stark, right down to helping him come up with a new and improved suit. A scene that I thought was hilarious. In the words of Edna from The Incredibles, "No capes." I thought this scene was effortlessly funny and allowed for some fun back and forth between Norman and Peter. Another possible throwaway line, but also maybe not, maybe it's a hint, is when Peter sees Harry outside of his dad's office. And he mentions that Peter is a lot younger than Norman, and if anything ever happened, Peter could easily outrun him. Is this a reference to something happening between Peter and Norman? Because as we all know, typically speaking, Norman becomes the Green Goblin. Always be on the lookout for foreshadowing. That's what makes these kind of shows and these little Easter eggs fun. I think one of this series' best characters so far is Lonnie Lincoln. His story feels so real, and for a lot of people, it's probably extremely relatable. He's the older brother trying to keep his family safe, and as a result, he ends up getting pulled into the 110 gang, a gang that is an active feud with the Scorpion Gang, which is led by, you guessed it, Mac Gargan, Scorpion, a character that we have not seen in the MCU since he debuted in Spider-Man Homecoming, but maybe his inclusion in this series is going to be leading us to seeing him return in that upcoming Spider-Man 4 movie, which, by the way, is in active development. We are going to get it, and hopefully we do get to see Scorpion finally. Speaking of awesome villains, who got excited to see Dr. Otto Octavius show up in this series? And I was extremely pumped to see that he had his typical typical look. He had that crazy bad haircut like Will Byers from Stranger Things. He had those glasses and he had that lab coat. And in this universe, he is very much still a very intelligent scientist, but he's kind of been relegated to selling weapons to criminals because he's not yet getting the recognition that he deserves. I'm looking forward to seeing more of Dr. Octopus. I hope we do get to see him in the MCU as well. We saw him in the MCU in Spider-Man No Way Home, but as we all know, that was not the MCU Dr. Octopus. That was from a different timeline, so we are still waiting to see some of these characters show up on Earth 616. And take a look at this weapon that he sells to this woman. Somebody makes a reference that it looks like it has a rhino horn on it. And this show, given how it is radically changing some of these characters, it made me wonder, is this a reference to this woman becoming Rhino, or is that just another throwaway line designed to make nerds cream their pants? Doesn't it seem like Spider-Man often has a hard time keeping his identity a secret? Not only is Norman Osborn well aware that he is Spider-Man, which actually, let's talk about that really quick because there is an interesting story with that. You see, it turns out that after Norman witnessed Spider-Man save his son, he became determined to help him and started trying to figure out his identity because he wanted to offer Spider-Man assistance. But now, not only does Norman know that Spider-Man is Peter Parker, but Harry knows now as well. Damn. I like to think I would do a much better job keeping my identity a secret, but I don't know. I haven't had powers yet. But for now, Harry is the man in the chair helping Peter with his crime fighting. Will he eventually suit up and become more than that? Is he gonna become the Green Goblin? And finally, jumping back over to poor Lonnie, it seems like he's having a hard time getting out of his commitment to that 110 gang. After a fight in the street with the Scorpion gang, he ends up saving the leader of the 110 gang, and he is nicknamed Tombstone, who we all know is a famous Spider-Man villain. Is Lonnie going to become the villain that we know, or is this Tombstone going to actually be a hero? It will be really sad to see Lonnie turn down a villainous path because I think his character is really fascinating, but it is Tombstone. That is what he's supposed to be. So it'll be curious, is that what's going to happen? Or are we in for another curveball? What did you guys think of these latest 3 episodes? I really enjoyed them. I am loving this series. I love how it's throwing off my expectations and keeping me guessing. I like the changes. Put your thoughts on these 3 episodes in the comments. And just to let you know, if you're one of those people who like to go on the internet and complain that everything with diversity is woke, well, you can go ahead and put a thumbs down on this video for me liking this series, but that is not going to change jack shit. All it does is prove that you are a hateful bitch. So save your energy and apply it to something helpful. Or, you know, just keep being... If you like this video, go ahead and hit the like button. And if you want to hear more things from me, subscribe to this channel. Later.